Have you ever walked into a home and wondered why it smells so gently pleasant? Not like candles, not like air freshener, but like a very personal scent of life. Today, I'm going to share with you my experience visiting Meline, a friend originally from Provence, a place filled with lavender and Mediterranean sunshine. She now lives in the US, running a small bakery I often visit, and one day she invited me to her home. It was in that house that I discovered 10 very French habits that keep a home always fragrant, natural and comfortable. In this video, you'll see why the French believe that fragrance is not something to buy, but something to nurture. 10 simple habits powerful enough to keep a home clean, fragrant and full of life. And the interesting differences compared to American habits, each with its value. The surprising thing is, some of the habits Meline does every day take only a few minutes, yet they completely change the feel of the whole home. And you can apply them too, no matter where you live, whether your apartment is big or small. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you find this content useful. Your support is the motivation for us to continue sharing more meaningful things. Thank you for being here. Meline is not a stranger. She is the owner of the little bakery on the corner where I often buy a baguette every morning. The first time I met her, I was struck only by her calloused yet skillful hands, always quickly wrapping bread, and her gentle smile paired with greetings in both English and French. We started talking more, from bread recipes to stories of her homeland in Provence, to the simple things in life in America. One day, when she heard me compliment the unusual fragrance of her croissants, Meline smiled and said, "If you want to know the real secret of fragrance, come visit my home." I agreed, and little did I know that the invitation would open a whole new experience for me. When I stepped into her small house, I immediately noticed something different in every corner. Light, uncluttered, but full of life. And that it was when Meline began sharing her first habit with me. Habit No. 1. Less is more. Meline said that in France, a home doesn't need to have a lot of things to feel warm. What matters is that each item in the house has a use, has its own story, or brings joy when touched. She pointed out a small wooden table that had traveled with her from Provence to the US. Next to it, a vase of fresh flowers and a few neatly stacked books. There were no piles of plastic shelves, no things bought just to fill space and then forgotten in a cupboard. Everything had its place, and thanks to that, the space was open, light, and natural scents could easily flow. I immediately thought of the habits of many American families, where each trip to Costco or Walmart adds a stack of extras. Plastic containers, kitchenware, paper towels. The good side of the American way is that there's always plenty, always ready and convenient. But Meline smiled and said, "The fewer things you have, the easier the house can breathe." Sitting in her room, I understood what she meant. The lavender scent from the balcony, the faint smell of freshly baked bread from the kitchen. Everything blended naturally, not drowned out by the smell of plastic, old things or chemicals. A simple refinement I had never noticed before. And then Meline continued, explaining that fragrance in the home doesn't come only from having fewer things, but also from a small habit she keeps every single day. Habit No. 2. Cleaning up after breakfast. For her, a fresh-smelling home doesn't come from stressful deep cleaning, but from short moments repeated daily. Every morning after eating, Meline washes the dishes, wipes the table, and opens the window to let fresh air in. She said, "If you leave the kitchen until the weekend to clean, the smell of grease and old food will linger for a long time. The kitchen keeps old odors, grease smells, and it's no longer pleasant. Just 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, and the house starts the day with a new fragrance." I noticed her kitchen was very simple, with only a clean cloth, a bottle of white vinegar, and a few jars neatly arranged. Everything shone, with no lingering smells. This reminded me of many American families, where busy schedules often mean cleaning is left until the weekend. The advantage of that way is saving time during the day. Everyone can focus fully on work and family. But the home sometimes endures days with leftover food smells or piles of dishes in the sink. Comparing them shows that both sides have their reasons. Americans are practical and save time, while the French maintain small habits that keep them fresh every day. When Meline threw open the kitchen window, a breeze carrying lavender from the balcony rushed in, and I felt the home was completely renewed. She whispered, "Morning is the best time to bring natural scents into the house. If you miss it, the air gets heavier later in the day." I nodded, realizing how true that was. Just a few minutes after breakfast, the home felt completely different. Bright, clean, and naturally fragrant, without any air freshener at all. Habit No. 3. Fresh flowers and small details. When I entered the living room, I immediately noticed a small glass vase on the table with a few freshly cut flowers. Meline said that in Provence, her mother always placed a vase near the window or dining table, even if it was just wildflowers from the garden. Flowers are not only beautiful, but they bring nature's fragrance, a little different each day, never the same. I bent down and inhaled the faint scent of the petals, feeling gentle, natural, as if a small garden had just visited the room. I thought of many American homes where scented candles or essential oil diffusers are the common choice to create a cozy atmosphere. The advantage of that way is convenience, a variety of scents, long-lasting and suitable for many spaces. Meanwhile, fresh flowers bring living fragrance. Habit number 4. Deal with stains immediately. As I sipped my tea, Meline told me about a rule she had kept since her days in Provence. Never let a stain sleep in the house. She gave a very specific example. If a drop of red wine falls on the tablecloth, I immediately sprinkle salt on it and use a little white vinegar. If I wait until the weekend to wash it, the sour smell and stain will never really go away. I looked around her kitchen, and indeed there were no traces of old stains. The countertop shone, the wooden shelves were clean, even the door handles gleamed. This made me think of many American families, where people are often busy and leave major cleaning for the weekend. The advantage is saving effort. One strong clean with powerful products makes everything spotless. But in between are the weekdays when grease, food odors, or dust still linger. Meline was different, gently saying, "I like to deal with each small thing right away. Every stain cleaned immediately never has time to leave a smell. and my home always stays fresh." Hearing her words, I noticed the room did have a clear fragrance, not covered by any old odors. I realized that while Americans excel at speed and the strength of cleaning products, the French are refined in never letting the house endure bad smells for too long. And when the two ways are combined, with daily attentiveness and periodic thorough cleaning, the home can always be fresh, clean, and comfortable. Habit number 5. Use natural ingredients. When I curiously asked Meline what kind of cleaner she used to keep her house always smelling so fresh, she smiled and handed me a worn bar of Marseille soap and a small bottle of white vinegar. "This is all I need," she said. In France, people are used to simple things: baking soda to remove odors, vinegar to clean glass, and savon noir to wash floors. No strong chemicals, no artificial scents, just natural, safe things that have been trusted for generations. I sniffed the soap she gave me. It was gentle, not overly sweet, not harsh, but as fresh as sun-dried fabric. Compared to habits in the US, I realized many families there often have entire cabinets filled with specialized products: kitchen cleaner, glass spray, air freshener, wood floor solution, tile cleaner. The advantage is convenience and modernity, each designed to solve a specific problem. But because of that, a home can carry a mix of artificial fragrances, sometimes overwhelming natural scents. Meline quietly said, "I don't want my home to smell like chemicals. I want it to keep its scent: wood, sunshine, flowers, and bread." Her words made me think that sometimes simplicity brings a more genuine feeling. French homes smell good because of nature. American homes smell good because of technology. And if chosen carefully, we can combine both for convenience and freshness. Habit number 6. Clean with appreciation. I noticed Meline never rushed while cleaning. She put on some soft jazz, poured herself a cup of tea, then calmly wiped the table, folded linens, and dusted the bookshelf. She said, "I see cleaning as a ritual, not a chore. When I wipe the table, I'm also touching my memories." The way she did it made me realize that for the French, cleaning is not only about tidiness, but about nurturing the spirit. In contrast, in many American families, cleaning is often considered a chore, something to finish quickly to focus on work or other activities. The advantage is productivity, efficiency, and fitting into a busy pace of life. But with Meline, I saw another side. Slowness brought joy, turning cleaning into rest for the mind. Her home was not just clean but warm, fragrant with peace. I watched her gently wipe a photo frame on the shelf, her movements tender, as if caring for a piece of memory. And I wondered, if each day I also cleaned with such appreciation, perhaps my home would not only be tidy, but also a place filled with the gentle scent of calm. Habit number 7. Care for the outdoor space. When Meline led me to her small balcony, I was immediately drawn to pots of lavender, rosemary, and sprigs of fresh herbs. She said, "In Provence, the balcony or garden is always part of the home. It's not just to look at, but to breathe." The fragrance of outdoor plants mingled with the air inside, creating a freshness close to nature. I bent down and touched a sprig of rosemary, its warm scent instantly clinging to my sleeve, and I understood why her home always felt so pleasant. Compared to American homes, the difference was clear. Americans often have large lawns where children play and families hold barbecues. It's open, spacious, and full of community activity. Meanwhile, the French, even in small apartments, keep a refined green corner. The American way is roomy and functional. The French way adds fragrance and closeness, even in small spaces. Meline said, "Just one pot of flowers or a few sprigs of lavender can transform a home. The fragrance will change with the season, with the sun, and each day is a new experience." Standing on that balcony, I realized that sometimes just a small green spot allows the house to breathe, with fragrance always natural, without chemicals or machines. Habit number 8. Clean regularly, don't let it pile up. Meline shared that she never waits until the weekend to start cleaning. Instead, she spends about 10 to 15 minutes each day on a small corner. Today, wiping the kitchen counter. Tomorrow, rearranging the bookshelf. Another day, just shaking out the doormat. She said, "If everything piles up, cleaning becomes a burden. But if you break it down, a little each day, the house always feels light, and fragrance is never buried by old smells." I immediately thought of the common American habit, saving cleaning for weekends or by season, especially spring cleaning. The advantage of that is that after one big clean, the whole house shines. But the drawback is that in the waiting days, mustiness, grease, or dust still linger. Meline's way was different. By doing small, regular things, her house never had time to accumulate unpleasant smells. I noticed there was no trace of stale odor, not because she did a lot, but because she did it consistently. That consistency created a comfortable feeling, as if the air was always fresh. Listening to her, I saw a clear difference. Americans are great at strong, thorough work, while the French excel at keeping freshness from ever leaving. And perhaps, when combined, we can have a home that's always tidy, both deeply clean and long-lastingly fragrant. Habit number 9. The meaning of faire le ménage. When I asked Meline why she was always cheerful while cleaning, she smiled gently and explained, "In France, we call it faire le ménage. It doesn't just mean cleaning, but making the home more beautiful, more alive." For her, cleaning wasn't a burden, but a chance to refresh her living space, like breathing new life into every corner. She wiped a glass jar and placed it in sunlight streaming through the window, then said, "See, when the light touches it, the home smiles at you." I thought of the English words, housework or chores, which sound heavy, like a list of tasks to complete. Americans excel at making housework a shared responsibility, with everyone pitching in to save time. But the French perspective was more refined, seeing cleaning as beautifying life, not just making things tidy. This made the work feel lighter, not stressful, and that mindset itself contributed to a pleasant atmosphere. Listening to Meline, I understood that when we change how we name something, our attitude also changes. And then, fragrance in the home comes not only from flowers or sunshine, but from the joy and appreciation poured into every small action. Habit number 10. The art of laundry and caring for clothes. When I asked why her bed linens and towels always smelled so fresh, Meline smiled and pointed to the backyard, where white sheets were drying in the sun. She said, "In Provence, we believe sunshine and wind are the best fabric softeners." Indeed, the fragrance was both pure and warm, unlike any commercial softener. In her closet, she placed small fabric bags filled with dried lavender. When I open the wardrobe, I want it to feel like I'm standing in a flower field, not smell plastic from hangers, she said. Americans are different. They often use dryers and commercial softeners. The advantage is speed, convenience, and long-lasting fragrance. But Meline showed me another way. Her clothes smelled of sun, wind, the natural scent of fabric, a fragrance tied to feelings and memories. As I folded a towel she had just dried, I understood why she called it the art of laundry. It wasn't only about cleaning, but about sewing a sense of care into every fiber. After a day in Meline's home, I realized the fragrance of her house didn't come from expensive products, but from small, consistent daily habits. And perhaps you can start tomorrow by drying a towel in the sun or placing a few sprigs of lavender in your closet. Thank you for staying with me until the very end. Your presence is truly precious, and I deeply value every moment you spend listening. If you found this story helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Your companionship is the driving force that inspires me to continue sharing even more meaningful things.